2021. The year began with people across our planet hoping for a fresh start, a return to normality. The world's attention had begun to shift from the global pandemic towards the even deadlier threat of climate change. It also saw the beginning of Extreme E's worldwide adventure. Racing to highlight the damage being done to our planet has helped educate the masses. And the COP26 climate conference saw real action and essential global policy put in place. The world is making real change for the better, but climate change still presents humanity's biggest challenge yet. In 2021, climate disasters wreaked havoc across our planet and hit closer to home than ever before. And as we entered a new year, 2022, the UK saw the hottest New Year's Day ever recorded, acting as a stark reminder that the fight isn't over. But this year also presents the beginning of a new chapter. Our journey towards a better future has only just begun. The Extreme E Championship had arrived at its fifth and final race location, the Jurassic X Prix. Taking place in Dorset in the United Kingdom, with the series aiming to highlight how massive loss of biodiversity can drastically affect our environment. The Global Biodiversity Intactness Index shows the percentage of biodiversity that is left intact in a specific area after human impact. The global biodiversity intactness level needs to be at 90%. The problem is, the UK's biodiversity intactness index is at an appalling 50%, making it the lowest in the G7. Extreme E's legacy projects focus on critical issues in every race location, with the goal to leave a lasting difference. With global natural habitats reducing due to agriculture and human impact, restoring these has never been more important.
So what we need to do now is we need to preserve what we've got, because these are very special and unique habitats. But we also need to be thinking about restoring and valuing other locations. So here in Dorset, they've gone from an area that was quite fragmented to be able to restore habitat and connecting those fragmented areas, which in itself has had a magnitude benefit for this area and for those communities that are now connected.
Biodiversity is essentially the richness of life on Earth. You know, it's the sum total of all the different life forms we've got here, and it's in crisis essentially. We know since Industrial Revolution, Agricultural Revolution, the changes over the last sort of 100-150 years, our biodiversity is crumbling. You know, it's like we're on the edge of the abyss really. We've lost huge amounts of what sustains all of our lives. It used to be something that was of interest to ecologists, naturalists. Actually, it's of everybody's interest now, because if we lose how the natural world functions, you know, our ability to grow food, our climate, everything is at risk.
So in the UK, we have a low biodiversity intactness index, and that means the number of different types of species is much lower than we would expect from the types of environments that occur across the UK.
Everybody who's got any kind of back garden or any bit of land they have any influence over, you know, rewilding, nature recovery can start there. And there's loads of initiatives out there, conservation organisations like the RSPB, the National Trust, the Wildlife Trust, Butterfly Conservation, they've all got very good practical guides as to how you can do something to make a difference and how you can measure that as well. You know, take part in the annual big butterfly count or garden bird count, that sort of stuff. And you'll see how just by allowing wildflowers to grow, you'll see insects coming back, and that's fantastic.
So if you own a piece of land, that might be your back garden, what can you do? Can you build a pond? Can you have a wildflower area? What we can do is really value the space around us. We can think about what resources we're using. There's lots of aspects of our lives, and small changes changes from each of us will mean that together we can create a planet that is better for future generations.
An Extreme E race consists of 3 laps, with the first driver completing 2 laps. Each team has a hyperdrive power boost they can activate on all 3 laps of the race. Expect strategy and tactics. Over the course of an X-Prix, the quickest team that goes through the Continental Traction Challenge collects a further 5 team championship points. Day 2 starts with the semi-finals, with the top 2 teams from each semi-final progressing to the final. The bottom 3 teams from Day 1's qualifying go head-to-head in the Crazy Race, with the winner taking the last remaining place in the final. The top 2 teams from the semi-finals and the winner of the Crazy Race will battle it out in the 5-car final. The team that crosses the line first wins the X-Prix and claims 25 championship points. All 5 X-Prix count towards the team's championship, and in the Drivers' Championship, competitors can drop their worst result of the season. Who has what it takes to lift the trophy? The bottom 3 teams from qualifying would head out into the Crazy Race, with only the top team progressing to the main event and securing the first spot in the 5-car final. With technical issues, crashes and other struggles plaguing the bottom 3 teams, the Crazy Race saw Excite Energy Racing lined up alongside Segi TV Chip Ganassi Racing and Andretti United.
It is time for the Crazy Race to take place. We have one more spot left to go, and it's green. We are going, and the cars are coming together. It's a squish at the back for Chip Ganassi Racing. Excite are following the way, but it's Andretti United who have easily got the better start. There's 2 into 1. That doesn't work out at the back there, but it is Andretti United who have taken the lead of this. Excite Energy in 2nd place, and 3rd behind them Chip Ganassi Racing. But you can just see they mean business. Leduc wants to get back up to this, but at the front, Timmy Hansen is stretching out his lead.
4 car lengths, good job. Everyone used hyperdrive, just manage 4 car lengths.
That's one of the few places we thought you might be able to pass. Look at the speed car Leduc carries now right up behind. They're losing time.
The fend position is very close. The fend position.
Bennett's hyperdrive, he used it.
Yes, he's going to make it stink, as he's going to have to get aggressive. That's exactly what he's doing. Leduc takes on Bennett for 2nd place. Now he has got to try and hunt down Hansen, who has got the lead at the moment. A bit of clear air.
Having secured that brilliant overtake on the Excite Energy car, Chip Ganassi driver Carl Leduc had Andretti United's Timmy Hansen in his sights.
Leduc now on the hyperdrive trying to chase down Hansen. Looks for alternate line on the run to the jump, and there isn't enough pace there. Hansen goes late on the race. Where's Leduc? Flies it high in the Hummer. Lands it, still huge water splash.
We've not seen that line taken all weekend so far. Everyone's hugged to the left of that bank as they come over it.
Coming into the switch zone, Timmy Hansen handed over to Katie Munnings in 1st place, but a hard-fought battle lay ahead.
Now it's Katie Munnings versus Sarah Price for the final spot in the last final of the year.
Munnings using the hyperdrive now, and look, Price doing the same thing, same tactic.
So Sarah Price responds with her hyperdrive coming up to the jump. How big is she going to go? Both these two went huge on the jump on Thursday, but much more sensible this time round. The gap is 2.54, so Sarah Price is a little bit closer than she was before. There may be one chance to overtake at the end of the lap.
What can Sarah Price do? Can she fight back from Munnings? Munnings looks like she's in a good place.
Sarah Price is full send in the Hummer, going to jump out the top, try and take the left-hander on a different line. Andretti United, Katie Munnings holding on, couldn't be closer, 0.6 of a second as they approach the finish line now. Who's going to get it? It's Munnings, just holds on for Andretti United, keeps their hopes of a P3 in the championship alive. Brilliant drive by her and such a good effort by Sarah Price.
Yesterday, right in the final, baby!
Yeah, well, Timmy kind of did the work. He did a fantastic job on the start. He managed to get a clear line into the 1st corner. And then, yeah, he was really managing the race really well. I know he had a lot of pressure from Ganassi behind. It was really close coming into the pits. And I know it was close going out of the pits. I knew I had a 5-second gap, and then that went down to 3 seconds, and suddenly it was 1.5, and I thought, wow, she must be really pushing. So I think our strategy paid off this time, and we're in the final.
Drove my heart out, did everything I possibly could to get her. I think I finished right on her bumper. You know, it just wasn't enough. If I maybe had another corner or 2, could have had it, but it just wasn't enough, and gave it all. Now we're done with the season. Wild ride of a year for us, but I'm more motivated than ever to come in with, you know, good confidence that we belong on the podium next year, and we're going to do that in a very smart manner. And so, you know, I'm ready to work.
With one of the fan favourites Segi TV Chip Ganassi Racing season coming to a close, Andretti United clinched the first spot in the 5-car final, where they try and secure their second win of the season in their bid to take third place in the team's championship. The first wheel-to-wheel action showed just how exciting racing around the Jurassic X-Prix course was going to be. Set on a military tank range, Extreme E worked alongside the British Army to bring the event to life. As well as providing a race site for the future of motorsport, the British Army has a long history of going racing.
The British Army Motorsports Association can trace its roots back to the 1930s. We have maintained a very strong following in the British Army for all things two-wheel, four-wheel. So it's always been a very strong sport within the British Army. I got a call to see if we could host Extreme E and its 5th and final X-Prix, and Bovington was the natural choice. It provides the ideal extreme conditions to be able to host an X-Prix for Extreme E. The MOD, like all government departments in 2019, have signed up to carbon reduction targets, and we've got a climate change and sustainability strategy in the MOD now that we're following. But in terms of the British Army, we've launched a new Future Soldier, which is the way that we will fight and operate in future. And self-evidently, I think, where we'll be operating are going to be in places that will be impacted by climate change. And so we need to adapt and make sure that we harness the best of innovation and technology. And so we have a program of electrification that is developing some of our in-service platforms and adapting them to become hybrid battery-powered vehicles. So we can take the best of what's being developed in industry and apply it to our military platforms at the moment.
Extreme E wanting to leave a place better than they found it. Them coming here leaves us better informed as in about electric propulsion. It creates that area where we can actually all kind of talk together and create that discussion. Motorsports in history has driven technological change, and if we're going to see actually any of this technological change, we need to be a part of that and actually see what we can borrow still from Extreme E, and then see like how we can best utilise it to maximise what we've got already.
As well as sharing knowledge on future technologies, British driver Katie Munnings showed Corporal Muntz around the Odyssey 21 for some hands-on experience.
So here is the Odyssey 21. It's quite big, isn't it, when you first see it?
Yeah, it's bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's impressive. So it's dual motor, so you have a front motor and a rear motor. So it's about 400 kilowatts in total, so it's pretty fast. I understand that you know some stuff about electric vehicles, so I'm sure you can appreciate that. The speed that you have behind the wheel is quite cool.
Yeah, no, indeed. I mean, like, we've been looking at electrification of British Army vehicles for some time now.
I'm sure you'll understand it better if we get in. Do you want to have a ride?
Indeed.
Let's go for it.
Oh, the car's phenomenal. It really is. It's a great bit of kit. It's really exciting. Kate handled it just fine. It was a bit slippy in some of the corners, but you know, I'll put that down to the ground conditions. But no, it was great. It was well handled.
Extreme E has set out to leave a lasting legacy in every race location. And while in Dorset in the UK for the final race of the season, the championship was working alongside the National Trust to reintroduce the beaver to the local habitat.
Now we've joined up the landscape, we've got a big area essentially being managed for nature. We can start thinking differently and bringing back some of the lost engineers of our landscape, really, some of the lost wildlife that would have created the habitats for everything else to live in. And one of those is the beaver.
There's many reasons why we'd want to reintroduce beavers. They're fabulous creatures because they're one of the few animals that actually adapt their habitats to suit their needs. Wetlands can store 3 to 5 times more carbon than a terrestrial forest. We've lost almost 90% in the UK in just recent years.
So in our wetlands, in our rivers, in our watercourses, naturally beavers would have been not just living there, but they would have been shaping the landscape for all the other aquatic life that lives there as well. And hopefully very soon we'll be bringing back free-living beavers to Purbeck for the first time in at least 400 years.
We're aware that when they first arrive, they will need to spend some time settling in and making their own lodges to live in. But for those first few days, they may need somewhere safe to sleep. And so we've today built an artificial lodge just to smooth that process over. So it's been a great day getting the racing drivers and their teams involved in building that.
It's got an entrance near the water because apparently they burrow under the water to get in. And then it has to have a roof on it, so we've built that out of some iron and then some twigs on top. So this is where they'll come in their first few days to sleep, and then they'll obviously go out and explore and build their own nest.
Well, it's really nice to come down here and do something a bit different in the mud and getting a bit dirty and really helping out, seeing a difference, then and really come here and build something for the community that will live here.
Nature conservation has been seen as something that conservationists do, something that ecologists do, and I think we're all recognising now that the ecological emergency is everybody's emergency, and it's absolutely, fundamentally important that when we're doing these, really exciting initiatives here, they're not just National Trust projects, they're projects that everybody is part of, and that includes, all the people involved in the Extreme E. Absolutely, this is everybody's planet, and we're all, essentially need to work together to try and do something about it.
Coming into the grand finale, the Jurassic X Prix in Dorset, Rosberg X Racing led their rivals X44 by 16 points. The German team, founded by 2016 Formula One world champion Nico Rosberg, started their championship campaign in dominant fashion, taking the win in round 1 in Saudi Arabia, round 2 in Senegal, and round 4 in Sardinia, only missing out on the top spot in round 3 in Greenland, where they broke down in the final after pushing too hard in the hunt to extend their winning streak.
That impact was just too much, took too much of a risk.
Their closest rivals, British outfit X44, founded by the 7-time Formula One world champion Sir Lewis Hamilton, have been keeping the pressure on the 3-time race winners RXR throughout the season, having secured the top qualifier spot in every round of the series. They made it 5 qualifying wins from 5 races at the Jurassic X Prix and reduced the points deficit to RXR to 15 points and kept the championship fight well and truly alive. Despite momentum being on their side, if they are to hunt down the team's championship, they'd have to progress to the final, secure the additional 5 points for the Continental Traction Challenge, hope that RXR's weekend comes to a disastrous early finish, and last but not least, take their first overall race win of the season in the final round. It would be no easy feat, but X44 were clearly up for the fight. But first, in order to stay in contention, they needed to progress to the main event and finish in one of the top 2 places in semi-final 1. 9-time World Rally champion Sebastian Loeb took the start for X44 and lined up against debutant Lance Woolridge for Veloce Racing and Kevin Hansen in the JB XE machine.
Here we go then. Who's going to get away fast? Is Lance Woolridge already? Eyes on those lights, waiting for the green. Very even start, X44 made with an advantage. Kevin Hansen moves across on Sebastian Loeb, gives him a squeeze. Loeb will just want to hold on. Oh, Loeb used his hyperdrive there from the looks of things off the line, but couldn't make it work. Woolridge too. But it's Kevin Hansen who gets the whole shot down to turn 1. Sebastian Loeb slots into P2 with Lance Woolridge right behind.
Okay, Kevin, so X44, 2 car lengths behind. Keep going, good job, good job.
Hansen very cautious over the jump. He really went slowly over that. It's given Loeb the chance to close up. Look, he's less than a second behind.
Loeb's gone quickest in the traction challenge. X44 have got those 5 championship points. That's what the big jumps, that's what the big push was about. So X44 have got the 5 championship points at the moment. We might see RXR respond to the next one, but brilliant tactics from them as they come up towards the driver switch zone. It could not be closer.
Just look how close he is. He's going to crawl all over the back of it. They're in the switch zone now, though.
There is a chance here because Loeb is on the exit. If they can get this absolutely bang on, remember the other cars will release almost the same time. They released slightly earlier because they've stopped earlier. But, Jenny, they've got that tight right-hander, which we've seen teams having to use the handbrake to get around on. If they are tardy out of there, we might actually see our first ever pass in the switch zone.
So first away, it's Arlen Kotelinski for the JBXC team. She's away. Let's see how quickly the others react.
3, 2, 1. Drive and go, drive and go, drive and go.
She gets there, they do! Brilliant tactics from X44. Loeb was right on the back. They had that switch zone slot on the exit of it, and X44 take the lead by coming out of the switch zone first.
Right, good job, guys. Just bring it home, Christine. All 2 cars right behind you. I'll try to keep you posted, but just bring it home.
Absolutely brilliant tactics here from X44, Jenny. They've managed to take those extra 5 points in theory on the Continental Traction Challenge, but so, you know, they just had to make it to the final.
Yep, so it's up the twins, and this is the final dash to the line. X44 leading at the moment. They're followed by Arlen Kotelinski. Will Chadwick take the same route? Highly likely, but look at this. Arlen Kotelinski pushing as much as she can, but it looks like Gutierrez has done enough. We're going to see the finish, and yes, it's X44. They've got the fastest lap as well with the Traction Challenge. They get 5 points for that, and Gutierrez and Loeb take the much-needed win to take the Championship Challenge through to the final, to take it to RXR and see what they can do. Our winners for semi-final 1.
Good job, well done. Final next.
Yeah, it was a very challenge semi-final because all of the drivers are very fast, and we have a good start for the semi-final, and then we take the super sector also. We need to wait for the other semi-final, but at the moment it seems like we did a very good job. We are in the final, so that's important for us.
We got the launch, that was of course the plan, and we hyperdrive directly off the launch like apparently everyone, so but it was nice to get that lead. Then it was nice to leave the lead to Michaela. Unfortunately she had a bit of an understeer in the pit lane, so tight this right-hand turn, and she just got X44 in the pit stop, so for sure we weren't happy about that, but she did an amazing last lap right on the bumper of Christina. She's done again a super job to bring her up in P2, and we're through to the final.
With JBXE and X44 taking the top 2 spots in Semi-1, they'd be joined by Crazy Race winners Andretti United and the top 2 finishers from Semi-Final 2, which would see Acciona Sainz and Abt Cupra up against the championship leaders RXR, who would have to progress to the main event to keep their title fight on track. The inaugural Extreme E Championship may be coming to a close, but the journey it's taken, both across the globe and in helping develop more sustainable practices in racing, will continue to power on even after a champion is crowned. Tyre partner Continental play a massive part in keeping the series rolling, and the life of one of their specially created tyres is full of both sustainable and technological innovations.
These tyres have gone a long path since we have developed them in Germany, produced them in America, and we made sure that we had covered all the parts from production to logistics to make it as sustainable as possible.
Step one is our logistics team is caring about getting the tires on site. Once the tires are on site, my boys are inspecting the tires. That means they're looking if there's any damage or something due to transport before they go to the mounting machines. The mounting of the tires is quite special as we're using beadlock rims. That means every tire is fixed on the outside to the rim with 32 screws, which is quite a significant amount of work. Yeah, after they have been fixed to the rim, they go on a kind of rolling table where they can get inflated. After that, they get delivered to the teams.
Our role on each one of the race weekends is also to check and to make sure that the teams are using the tires in the proper way. So every time on the pre-grid or right before the race starts, we are measuring together with our system Conti Connect and controlling the inflation pressures and the temperatures of all the teams. We are tracking this and documenting this, also for scrutineering purposes. And basically then the teams goes to the race, do their best, and after each one of the rounds we then measure it again and control it.
After the races, the 4 wheels stay on the car. The cars travel on these wheels to the next race location, and there we will remove them, get new tires fixed, and the spare wheels will travel in our freight.
We have taken also a role in the sustainability part of the whole championship, so we have limited the amount of tires we supply to each one of the teams. So for each race weekend they can only use up to 6 tires, otherwise they get a time penalty. And we also were very careful with the amount of tires we have produced overall. All tires will stay in our hands so that we can really make sure that they are used and recycled in a proper way, so it's all controlled by Continental. And we have developed a partnership with a German company which is going to convert a big portion of the tires used for the first season into a recycled material, which is basically some bricks that we can use then for a social project in Germany, so that we also don't add additional impact with the transportation and logistics.
Next time on Electric Odyssey, we see who will take the last 2 spots in the main event as championship leaders RXR head out in semi-final 2. We find out more about the environmental impact biodiversity loss is having in the UK and across the globe.
Biodiversity is the essence of the world.
And finally crown our first ever Extreme E champions in a hair-raising climax to an epic first season.